It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the movies of October 7th, 1994. And we only got two movies to look at today, so this one should be another quick episode. So let's go ahead and get right to it. Let's start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is Sylvester Stallone and Sharon Stone starring in the action thriller, The Specialist. Yeah, you know how we were in that time period where we were getting all these action movies about bomb specialists and explosive experts and stuff like Blown Away and Speed, but Speed was a really good movie and Blown Away was not. This is on Blown Away levels, and I would even go as far as to say that this is probably even worse than Blown Away because if you thought the traps and the bombs and Blown Away were over the top and ridiculous, boy does this movie top that, because man, the way that these explosions are planted, like, it takes a lot. It would take a lot more time than the movie is suggesting that it would, judging by what the stuff they have in here. Like, you see in the trailer, like, you see a guy coming into a garage and typing on the garage keypad, and it explodes. So Stallone had to basically figure out a way to get this thing to make a copy of this thing that opens the garage door, plant it there, take the other one away, and nobody would notice the difference. You know how long that would take? That would not take a day or so. That would take at least a couple of days to put together. And the stupidity of this movie gets more and more ridiculous as it goes along, because it's not only that you get like teacups that explode. I mean, that makes a little bit of sense, honestly, but no, it gets even more ridiculous when Stallone makes a bomb that makes up an entire hotel room, and the hotel room comes cratering down, and it's just like there's being over the top ridiculous, and then there's just being way too over the top ridiculous. Like, this is one of those movies that has so much wrong with it. There's so much there that's just all over the place. It's just like, it's unbelievable that how far this movie goes. Like, and it's not even that. It's just the whole thing just doesn't work. You have Rod Steiger with this terrible, terrible accent that he has throughout this movie, and it's just like, Rod Steiger can be a great actor, but man, this accent he gives is just so cartoonish and over the top. It's so ridiculous. And because Sharon Stone is in it, and apparently every movie that Sharon Stone was in after Basic Instinct, we gotta have her naked. We gotta have her in an erotic sex scene with somebody, and that means, yes, we get to see Sylvester Stallone's ass, which, I mean, don't get me wrong. Back then, he was a good-looking person, but I don't know. I don't want to see. It's like, it just feels kind of forced in, is what I'm trying to say. It's just like it's thrown in there because Sharon Stone was in Basic Instinct, and we got to put her in these erotic situations in every movie that she does after this, because heaven forbid she can't just act in a regular movie. It's quite simply, and the movie is just so ridiculous. The only thing that makes the movie stand out is James Woods. Like, he's the one who's so committed to this, and he has some of the best he has the best performance in the entire movie, because it's pure James Woods. It's what you expect from James Woods. He's angry. He's speaking loud. He's like over the top. He's being very comedic while also being very threatening. It's everything you asked for in a James Woods performance, and that's the one thing in this movie that holds up in this movie. He's the one thing that keeps this movie at least somewhat watchable. But other than that, though, this movie is just a huge mess of a film. Like, it gets so ridiculous, these traps, and they try to make Stallone's character the good guy in this whole situation in the beginning of the film. It's just kind of like, I mean, you're making bombs, and it's just like, that's hard to make a character likable unless you have a really good angle to it, and this movie just does not have that angle whatsoever. It's a film that's just, it's so ridiculous, it's so stupid, and not in a good way. Like, it's really, I mean, it's hard to believe that this movie made Blown Away look like Speed by comparison. That's just, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you on that one. That's The Specialist. So let's move on to the other big new release of the weekend, and that is Marissa Tomei and Robert Downey Jr. in the romantic comedy Only You. AKA the prequel to Captain America Civil War. Obviously, because Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark, and Marissa Tomei was Aunt May in that movie, and yeah, I threw that in there. But This Is Only You. That stars the two of them. You also see Bonnie Hunt in there, and usually she can be very good in movies, and she fits the role in here very well. The movie overall is an enjoyable little film. I think it takes its plot that seems very ridiculous. It very seems formulaic. It seems too much of a romantic comedy cliche. I think it does just enough, and I think it works because the chemistry between Tomei and Downey Jr. works so well. I think this movie really holds up best because they have such a good chemistry together, and that's why it works so well later on down the road, like when they did Captain America: Civil War and Spider-Man: Homecoming, and you see those scenes where where they have that little chemistry. Like, you could definitely tell that it holds up over 20 years later, and the movie is kind of cute. It's not. I think it gets a little too. It doesn't get too ridiculous. It could have easily gone off the deep end, but it does kind of work. It works because of the performances all around. It works because it's a very intriguing story. It's a nice idea about this woman who seems like she's destined to meet this one person, and then it leads her to meet somebody else entirely. And like I said, it could have easily have gone in the wrong direction, but for what it does, I think it does a good enough job of delivering what it promises. A nice little romantic comedy with some really great actors involved in here. Like you said, Marissa Tomei, Robert Downey Jr., Bonnie Hunt. You also have Fisher Stevens. Billy Zane is in here, as well as Sia Ben Fallon, who you've seen in as a character actress in other movies, as well as Adam LaFerre, Phyllis Newman, John Benjamin Hinckley. And it's like I said, it's a cute film. I think it does just enough to warrant a recommendation. Couldn't have gone a little bit deeper, maybe, to make it really stand out. Probably, but I'm kind of glad that they didn't. I think that it was good that they kept it at this particular pace, and it led to an overall really enjoyable film. I actually had a pretty good time watching this movie. I didn't think I was really going to enjoy it because I didn't remember it all that much, and what I remembered, I thought it wasn't all that good, but I thought it was decent for what it was. I think it is a nice little film. I think you should see it solely for the performances of Tomei and Downey Jr., just to see their chemistry work so well. And that's really one of the things I can say about that movie. It works because of those two and the way that they work off each other. It's a nice little film. It definitely works for what it is. See it for what it is. Only you. And so on that note, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we've got 7 movies to look at. A lot of good movies in this one coming up, including Pulp Fiction from Quentin Tarantino, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. We also have Little Giants, Exit to Eden, the Browning version, Imaginary Crimes, and also Hoop Dreams. Some notable movies in there. Definitely looking forward to talking about some movies in that one, and we'll do that on the next episode. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode. So thank you for watching, I'll see you next time, and until then, as always, take care.